Mary had a little lamb.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
The Facebook group was dubbed I'm 1015, which is Border Patrol code for aliens in custody. Recently, one of the group's 9,500 members posted this photo of a dead migrant and his 23-month-old daughter and asked if it was fake because the bodies were so clean. In another post, group members responded with indifference to the death in Border Patrol custody of a 16-year-old Guatemalan migrant. If he dies, he dies. According to the media organization ProPublica, there were lewd memes and sexist posts, some of which were aimed at members of Congress, including New York Democrat Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Today, she tweeted, "They're threatening violence on members of Congress. How do you think they're treating caged children and families?" She was part of a congressional delegation that toured the detention facility in Clinton, Texas today. Hispanic Caucus Chairman Joaquin Castro called for an investigation of the Facebook posts.
That shows, unfortunately, that there are many within CBP who become desensitized to the point of being dangerous to the migrants in their care and to their co-workers.
Today, President Trump defended the Border Patrol.
The Border Patrol, they're patriots, they're great people. They love our country. They know what's coming in.
CBP officials called the Facebook posts completely inappropriate. Chief of Operations Brian Hastings says an investigation is underway.
And each one of those individuals, if they are found to have done these, the appropriate disciplinary actions will be taken.
Just like police departments across the country, the union that represents CBP agents says that it has cautioned its members about how they use social media. The union also says that Facebook group does a disservice to all CBP agents.
Do we even believe in democracy anymore? Do the Trumpanzees, does Colt 45 believe in democracy anymore? Because I don't think they do. I really don't think they do. I think they're so full of fear and so full of anxiety, and it's being fed a steady diet of be afraid by this, by this demagogue, by this madman. So there's this secret Facebook page where Border Patrol agents literally mock the death of children and immigrants, the death of a 23-month-old baby girl named Valeria and her 23-year-old daddy. They mock it, okay? And secret might not be a good word for this secret Facebook page. Know why? Know why, everybody? There's 9,500 people on that secret Facebook page. Do you know how many Border Patrol agents there are? There's 20,000. So if there's 20,000 Border Patrol agents and there's 9,500 on this secret Facebook page, then half the Border Patrol is in on the secret. This is great. Concentration camps have managed to evolve into something even worse. Concentration camps where people are being kept in cages and cyberbullied on top of it. Isn't that amazing? Good for you, Trump. Good for you. You have just totally divorced the United States from any notion of decency, compassion, or care. You have just told the entire world that America is a country of fearful, weak-minded people in uniforms. I mean, there is nothing, I cannot say. Children are dying. And the Border Patrol are posting Facebook memes of Elmo mocking the dead children. And Trump doesn't object to it because you can't give him any credit for anything having to do with human decency or kindness. Kindness matters. And we don't have any in that Border Patrol. And you shouldn't be surprised, I mean, we have regimes that have run concentration camps throughout history. We have regimes that do it now. You've got, like what, 1 million Muslim Uyghurs in Chinese custody. You got North Korea, which is totally a prison planet. The whole thing is a prison planet. Now you got the internet. Now you got the internet, which makes it double the fun. The old SS, the Hitler guys, they had to do with scrapbooks. Now you got your internet over here. I mean, and they're also they're mocking the Latina members of Congress who came to have a little look-see at the camps, and they're on the TV on the Fox now saying, "Oh, you know what it's like over there in the camp? It's like a big house party, is what it's like. It's like somebody threw a house party, but they just invited too many people, and the house party went on for 50 days." I swear to God, this is what they compared detention centers in America to.
Okay, here's the thing. Picture yourself, you have a house, family of 5, you have a party, you have 30 people over, maybe you have a big party, you have 100 people over, and you have 2.5 baths.
It's a house
In the
party.
beginning, it would be okay with 30. Then after 100 people, it would be a little bit taxed. Maybe you got to get outdoor facility. Can you picture 5,000? You could have the best facilities in the world, but they are so overstocked. 670,000 have come here illegally already. They had 89,000 last month. The month before, 130,000 coming illegally. They have facilities that hold hundreds, not tens of thousands. And now you're going to walk down there with the facilities that they gave, that they're not pulling out of their pocket, their uniforms you gave them, and say the facilities are not right. They've been pleading for help.
It's a house party, everybody. It's a house party that lasts for 50, 60 days, and you invited 23-month-olds to it. And I mean, this is just the sickest, most twisted channel. I got to say, I cannot believe that this is what they tell people. A third of America watches this swill, and they're going to sit there and go, yeah, it's just a big freaking house party. It's a house party. And they don't believe AOC, right? She's lying. She's the one that yelled at the Border Patrol agents, right? She's 5 feet 4 inches tall. And it must have been very scary for those agents having to deal with AOC screaming and yelling at them. Know why? Know why? Because they haven't dealt with a grown-up. This is why the Border Patrol guy, Sanders, this is why he resigned after 2 months. No one has any idea what they're doing. Everything, I was telling Scott before the show, the best book title ever was Rick Wilson's. The Rick Wilson? Rick Wilson's book title was Everything Trump Touches Dies. And that is exactly what's going on here. He pulled us out of a Paris Accord, and now there's no water. There's just no water. You got a town of 7 million people in India, no water. You got tornadoes, I heard Tom say, in downtown Portland yesterday. Portland, Oregon, in the summer, you're having downtown tornadoes, really? You got mussels, literally in Northern California, being cooked in their own shells and dying, and it's not just a small sampling. It's like massive die-offs of mussels being cooked in their shells. It's like 107 degrees in Florida, and the summer has just started. It's 114 degrees in France. This man pulls us out of the climate accords. Okay, then you got the JPOA, right? The JCPOA, the nuclear deal with Iran. He pulls us out of the nuclear deal with Iran. Guess what the news is reporting today? What AP is reporting today? What Reuters is reporting today? Oh, that Iran just enriched uranium, and they've passed the point of what they were allowed to do under the agreement, right? And they're going to continue on unless Europe actually, stands with them. Because that worked out well, right? So now we have a nuclear Iran. You got Donald Trump going over to the freaking North Korea hermit nation and telling them, you know what? Complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. You know what, Kim? That's just too much to ask of you. So now I'm just going to say, keep your nukes, keep them, and let's be friends. I swear to God, that's what he's at. To the point where John Bolton was like, what? No! Yeah, that's your everything he touches dies. You know why? Because he doesn't know what he's doing. And now he's sitting there going, let's have a 4th of July military display. Let's have a 4th of July Banana Republic military display, just like Kim Jong-un does. Let's do that there. Man, if the Blue Angels don't make a big middle finger in the sky, I don't know.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
In that last facility, I was not safe from the officers in that facility.
Do you have any comment about what was posted about you in the alleged Facebook group?
I mean, I think it's just it's just indicative of the violent culture that we saw on the inside.
Yeah, she's right. We have a violent culture in law enforcement. We have a violent culture in Border Patrol. We have a violent culture in the police force. You know, they did that project, the Plainview project last week that we talked about, where all, these police officers from across the United States in many cities' police forces were posting racist and ugly and sexist and hideous memes in their Facebook page. And now you see it in the Border Patrol page. They posted a meme of AOC literally performing oral sex on Donald Trump and a migrant. Not a smart thing to do while the entire Twitter sphere is posting pictures of unwanted Ivanka in any picture that they can insert her into. Okay? Stupid. Not smart. And they posted a picture of the drowned father and the daughter saying they never saw, quote, floaters this clean. And claiming the photo was faked by Dems and liberals, except it was taken by the AP's own photographer. Oh my God. And then they say, we are family first and foremost. Yeah, you're the freaking Manson family first and foremost. You are the Ku Klux Klan. This is a sickness that has permeated into law enforcement. And there's like a problem with internal affairs. There's a problem with the IG put out a report, their very own IG, who said that what's going on there does not have to be going on there. None of it has to be happening. None of it. It's just disgusting. And the president says, oh, these are patriots. They know what's coming in here.
All right. So who is telling the truth? We know that Customs and Border Patrol is dealing with a crisis. For 3 months in a row, a surge of 100,000 border crossers have been taken into custody. They're being held in facilities that were never designed to house them. But today, CBP is on defense after the discovery that some of their people are posting heinous statements on a secret Facebook page called I'm 1015 about the people that are in their custody and about lawmakers like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. In the post, they reportedly share sexual jokes about members of Congress and laugh about the deaths of migrants. The president was asked about this a short time ago.
Well, I don't know what they're saying about members of Congress. I know that the Border Patrol is not happy with the Democrats in Congress. I will say the Republicans do want border security. The Border Patrol, they're patriots. They're great people. They love our country. They know what's coming in.
They know what's coming in. They're not patriots. They're nationalists. They're white nationalists, i.e. supremacists. They're white supremacists, and he plays to them. I don't know what they're doing to members of Congress. I don't know. This man lives on Twitter. What's wrong with him? He doesn't know what they're doing to members of Congress. Do you know what they did to Rashida Tlaib? They went down there, Escobar, Castro, the entire Hispanic caucus of the House, because Congress is on vacation. And so some members decided to use their vacation to actually go find out why we have concentration camps and just how ugly is it. And so they went down there. Escobar went down there. Now she's a freshman Congress member from El Paso. Obviously, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez went down there. Julian Castro went down there, and they were asked to react to the Facebook post, and of course they did. And then they started to talk to the crowd there. And I got to tell you, Rashida Tlaib, the second that she got in front of the crowd, they started screaming at her because her name is Rashida Tlaib, no Sharia law, and calling her a retard. These are Trump supporters.
We don't want Sharia law here. We don't care about Sharia law. We care about Jesus Christ.
Oh
we
my
don't
God.
care about Sharia law. We don't care about Sharia law. Go take care of your country.
had to bleep it because Rashida Tlaib said Veronica Escobar is the best GD congresswoman, right? I mean, this is sick. These are the Trump supporters. This is the level of, communication that they're capable of. We don't want Sharia law. We care about Jesus Christ. Go back to your country. This is her country. Okay? This is just the sickest thing. And Trump does it. I don't know what they're saying about members of Congress. I have no idea. All I can tell you is the Border Patrol, they're patriots. They're patriots. Really, what they're doing is unconscionable. It's sick and twisted and violent and ugly. You got 3 showers for over 800 people. 3 showers for 800 people.
What we saw today was unconscionable. No child should ever be separated from their parent. No child should ever be taken from their family. No woman should ever be locked up in a pen when they have done no harm to another human being. They should be given water. They should be given basic access to human rights. And it is a false notion. The idea that we have to choose between people is a false notion. No child ever has to suffer for the benefit of another. And I will never accept that argument. Thank you.
Now, of course, you have at first the acting DHS secretary. We don't have a DHS secretary. Everybody is acting. Everybody. And at first, he tried to deny any of these reports. He said that these reports were unsubstantiated, even though the Inspector General of DHS submitted a report. This is the report. It's right here. It has been declassified. It's out there. Anybody can read it. And it clearly says this does not have to happen. This should not be happening. The behavior of the Border Patrol agents is vile. It is wrong. It is disgusting. They are treating people like animals. And you have animal activists out there that care more about an animal than they do about a human being. It's unsubstantiated, he said. Yeah, well, now it's substantiated because the IG released the report. Stop lying. This is unbelievable. Nobody has ever seen this before. We have had waves of immigration in this country many, 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 many times. No one has ever seen this before. This is new.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Unsubstantiated allegations last week regarding a single Border Patrol facility in Clint Station in Texas created a sensation. Contrary to the reporting, children in CBP custody at the border are receiving access to key supplies, including toothbrushes, appropriate meals, blankets, showers as soon as they can be provided, and medical screening.
As soon.
Well, more than a dozen Democratic members of the U.S. Congress visited El Paso and Clinton, Texas, to investigate the condition of some of those facilities. Here are some of them.
We came today and we saw that the system is still broken and that people's human rights are still being abused.
I will never forget the image of being in a cell and seeing 15 women, tears coming down their faces as they talked about being separated from their children.
We need a system that works, that is humane, and that is compassionate, and that keeps families together.
She's arguing for keeping families together and compassion, and they're yelling at her, we don't want Sharia law. Take care of your own country. Go back to your own country. I mean, these are some sick, twisted freaks, okay? There is something so super wrong with the people who get to wear badges and uniforms in this country. I mean, when you look at the stuff that they post and the hatred that they hold in their hearts for anybody that isn't, on their side of abuse, who doesn't believe in, depriving people of toilets and water, or believes in shooting 13-year-olds with toy guns or smothering people to the point where they can't breathe and die, and that they celebrate this culture of death, this culture of inflicting harm, this culture of cruelty. That's what these forces have turned into, and it's being led by a man who says, punch him in the face, and remember in the good old days, and don't cover their heads, like when you be rougher with people, when you're putting them in the car. And what kind of a country is it? Again, do you even believe in democracy? Do you even believe in it anymore? Because I don't think you do. This is crazy. This is off the hook. They're playing with human beings. That's the new catnip for these guys. It's so sick. Ken Cuccinelli, I just want the people down in Miami who, you got your Cubans down here who are so pro-Trump, God only knows why. And Ken Cuccinelli, who is also the acting director of USIS, he was on TV today blaming Cuban detainees for causing any trouble in lockup in the border facilities. Swear.
You do have a more volatile situation. We're seeing, particularly from Cuban migrants, more agitation among the migrant population. And by that, I mean confronting people, being physically aggressive in ways that the folks from the Northern Triangle generally are not behaving. And when you put that in an already overcrowded situation, in facilities not designed to manage it, it is a problem. It is a problem. And with these raw numbers of people, incidents are going to happen just among the migrants themselves.
Oh my God, wake up, Miami. Wake up. There's Ken Cuccinelli saying that all the violence is caused by Cuban exile. It's Cubans that are, Let me tell you something. Yesterday, the Congress members described a visit yesterday with a dozen older Cuban women who were being housed in a cell without any running water, and they reported going weeks without showers. And this is the woman that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said was told by Border Patrol if she wanted a drink to drink out of the toilet. See, it's Cubans that are saying something out loud. And frankly, Ken Cuccinelli is having none of it. The Cubans are the ones that are agitating. The Cubans are going to organize these migrants. The Cubans are the problem. The Cubans are more aggressive. See, in the Northern Triangle people, they're very docile. They're very peaceful people. They're just looking for a way to stay alive. But those Cubans, what the hell? What is that? What was that? It is so sickening. I can't stand it. When they released this report, the Inspector General's report, at first we knew about the Inspector General's report. If you're wondering, how did we know before they released it? It's because the news media had filed a Freedom of Information Act request, and they were able to get a FOIA request approved, and they were able to look, the media was, Jacob Soboroff and Julia Ainsley. These are the people that cover this subject really, really thoroughly and well. And so they were able to get access to the report. And now today, the report has been released, and it has been declassified because you can see on the bottom it says contains Privacy Act information, do not disclose. That's crossed out. And so now you can look at it. And here are some of the photographs that are embedded in the Inspector General's report. As you can see, there are girls here with their hands up against the plexiglass windows. There are men here separated that, they have, their names on cardboard pressed up against the plexiglass. You could see the Border Patrol opening the door. You can see everybody's faces, redacted. They're all blocked out. They're all pixelated. so that you can't, and look at this. These are the women sitting there with the babies, with the Mylar blankets. Everybody's on the floor or on a concrete bench, as we heard. Here's another view of the cages with the Mylar blankets on the concrete floors. People just peacefully just sitting there. But, look, you could see there's people sleeping on top of other people because there is not even any concrete floor space available. Joaquin Castro, I got to tell you, he posted video of one shower, right? He was trying to show you that there, and these trolls, these disgusting human beings, these dead inside beings that walk among us, answered Joaquin Castro, said, that shower looks better than the shower I got at the Motel 6. The point is there's only the one. It's a nasty little shower, and there's only the one, and it had a tube on the bottom of the shower pumping in water from a small tube. There are 800 people in that facility, and the one shower. That was the point, you morons! And then there's a clip I'm going to play you on the way, coming back, of Trump speaking to the evangelicals. Oh, dear sweet baby Jesus. He actually jokes about not being a reader of the Bible. To be fair, he's not a reader of anything. He doesn't even read his own tweets. He doesn't even know what's going on his main vehicle to communicate racism and hatred, Twitter. He doesn't even look at it. He reads nothing. And they're all cheering him, okay? They're cheering him. Because they're like, yeah, we know, small text, big words, lots of pages, no pictures. Yeah, of course you don't read it. Neither do we.
The Randi Rhodes Show is live on RandiRhodes.com and the free Progressive Voices app for Android and iOS. Visit the App Store or ProgressiveVoices.com now.
Jerry Falwell's a friend of mine, and he was with me right from the beginning, and he's so happy about it. I could tell you stories. He said that he was so honored to be there. He understood from the beginning what was going along. And he does say, and so did Pastor Robert Jeffress, a great friend of mine, he'd say, our president may not be the best at the Bible. He may not have read it 2,000 times, but he's the best for us. And that's great.
Oh, my God.
That's great.
A rapist is the best you can do? Really? A rapist is better for you than a Democrat? That's where the evangelicals in this country are? Really? What are you afraid of? This fear that is permeating this country, people are terrified of various things. They're terrified of brown people. They're terrified of black people. They're terrified of liberal people. They're terrified of Hillary Clinton. Oh, just terrified. They were afraid. Hillary Clinton, she would destroy the Constitution. So you handed it over to this numbnuts? You handed it over to him? So he could shred it one page at a time? Really? Good choice. It's like somebody cheating the gallows by committing suicide on the platform. Well, at least we were the ones that destroyed democracy. It's like the biblical story of Abraham sacrificing his son Isaac. But then I only mention that because the evangelicals will have no idea what I'm talking about. Don't you get it that there are people in this country who are truly religious people, truly religious, and there are people in this country that have no religion and none of them care to do anything bad to you? Why do you want to do bad things to other people? Why? Because you're afraid of what? What is it? What are you so scared of? It's just crazy. You picked a guy who brags about, raping women. You picked a guy who literally is a fraud and a cheat and a failure of a business, a man who has been sued for fraud and has had to pay multiple millions of dollars to the people that he defrauded. A guy who you knew was cooperating and expecting cooperation and relying on cooperation from a foreign adversary because you're afraid of Hillary Clinton? You were afraid? What are you afraid of? Healthcare? What is wrong with you? Well, we're afraid that you'll damage the church. Your churches are mega. They're not even churches anymore. They're freaking institutions of lower learning. You want to give your money away to a charlatan? Nobody's going to stop you in this country. Oh, God, I can't believe this. I just, we are literally torturing the most vulnerable people on the planet in our custody. Another man died. That's 6 dead people, 5 dead children, and a dead 30-year-old man. And they don't know why he died. They don't know why he died. He was in our custody and just died. You got people who are supposed to be taking care of these people who are posting pictures of dead 23-month-old little girls and saying, it's a floater, so clean. I think the liberals, doctored this. Are you kidding me? This is where your mind has to go in order to make that okay? Just cut the crap. Just stop. This is ridiculous. There is nothing to be afraid of, okay? These Facebook pages should tell you everything you need to know about the kind of people, the character of the people, the level of compassion of the people, the intellect of the people who are taking care of these kids.
That was a vulgar, disgusting, and vile page. That shows, unfortunately, that there are many within CBP who become desensitized to the point of being dangerous to the migrants in their care and to their co-workers.
One of the things that we see in action, whether it's the Facebook page or the chants that you're hearing today, is a dehumanizing of people that is very dangerous to our country.
It certainly is when people become catnip for you or play toys or not human in your eyes. You have strayed way off the beaten path. You have strayed. You will be judged by me and your maker. Ginger in London. London.
Yes. Hi.
Hello. Cheers.
I'm actually an American abroad, so don't be afraid of me. All right.
Well, you've got an English accent.
I've got both. Just give me time. I'll switch back and forth over and over again. But I went to the picnic, the barbecue picnic we had for our 4th of July celebration on the Sunday. And that's because, Thursdays everybody has to work here. It's not
right. It's no holiday there. Yes, because you lost that war. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I met this other young mother there with her child, and she was like me. She was just like me 20 years ago, because she was like, she's got this young 1-year-old child, and because I moved over here in '88. She's got this 1-year-old child. And, she's married to an Englishman, so she gets to stay and everything. And she's like, well, I miss America, but, I need health care for my family, for my child. And I don't want to see my child get shot in school.
Right.
Which is not something I would have been saying 20 years ago. I mean, that I didn't leave because I was afraid someone's going to shoot my kid at school, But it is crazy. I know you got a big protest march in Washington, D.C., because I talked to a guy. I was marching in Whitehall, down Whitehall Street here in London, to protest against Trump last month.
Oh.
And the guys that made the big golden toilet.
Yes.
That big golden toilet with the cell phone?
Yes.
Yeah, they're American. They just brought it over here because they knew they'd get a lot of press coverage for it.
Oh, it was awesome.
But they're actually so that's definitely going to be there. I don't know if the big blimp is coming or not.
Oh yeah, there will be a Trump baby blimp at the 4th of July. Your signs. Okay. I mean, the English protests against Donald Trump. They were legendary. They were so funny. They were really good. Really, really good.
You saw my signs?
Oh, I don't know which one was yours. Which one was yours?
No, okay. Okay, my sign was orange is the new asshole.
Oh no, you can't say that. Oh no, you can't say that. No. But yeah, I get your point. No, some of the signs were just, they were fabulous. The English have a fabulous sense of humor, and they pillory people in a very nice way, I have to say. I loved your protest against Donald Trump, and it is global and it is worldwide. His respect level around the world is in single digits, you know. Single digits. The United States still supports him to the tune of about 43%, okay? That is just crazy. Everything this man does, he has no idea what he's doing, as we all are finding out. No idea what he's doing. And he is messing up everything and anything that he touches, period, because he does not know what he's doing. But the rest of the world is hip to this. The rest of the world, you know, when you ask, do you respect, Donald Trump? It's like 1%. Tony in Atlanta.
Hey, how you doing?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, okay. Randi, you're on fire. I love you. I have to have my daily dose of Randi every day.
Yeah, you do.
Otherwise, yeah, I get the shakes.
You'll get the scabies, like the babies. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not trying to do that.
I just I give them 3.5 seconds till they steal that, until they actually start tweeting scabies is for babies. Really?
I'm not surprised. All right. Anyway, I got a couple of things. First of all, we are really in bad shape.
Yes.
Because you remember when Trump said we got the military,
yes,
we got the border patrol,
yes,
we got the cops,
yes,
yeah,
the bikers.
The bikers.
Yes, we got the tough guys. We got the tough ones, right? Yeah. They got 70-year-old bikers is what he's got. Great.
Yeah. But anyway, real quick, have you ever thought that Trump is selling his marketing services to these bad guys, the dictators around the world, so that he can make them look more palatable to the rest of the world? Because he's good at marketing.
Well, what do you think Paul Manafort sold? What do you think Paul Manafort sold to Oleg Deripaska? He sold a media plan to Oleg Deripaska. That's what he sold.
Yep.
And he told the Russians just exactly how to infiltrate America and make Trump palatable and make Trump, into a big hero. That's what he gave them to make himself whole, because he owed them multiple millions of dollars. That's what he sold them.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, Kim Jong-un, he's just a big fuzzy love bug.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America. From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
So there's about 9,500 members of this group. It's a secret, private group. You have to be invited in. It's essentially invisible if you're not a member of the group and haven't been invited in. It's for current and former Border Patrol, as well as members of the Air and Marine Division of Customs and Border Protection, the people that fly the planes and drive the boats. What we could tell from looking at the posts is that a lot of these people we could identify were legitimately active Border Patrol agents at this moment. We can't say how many, we can't say what the percentage is, but certainly the ones that we're looking at, we can quickly connect them to the agency.
So you did the sort of due diligence of running down in some of the more incendiary, offensive, vile, dehumanizing posts just to make sure that those people are actually people that work at CBP.
Exactly. And we went out to CBP and said, hey, what about this particular agent? What about this particular agent? What about this supervisor? And we have not heard back from them yet. But I can assure you that this is, we have sources within the Border Patrol at this moment saying, I'm on here, other people from my unit are on here, other people from my station are on here. This is a real thing.
This is a real thing. That's A.C. Thompson, who is the unbelievable reporter for ProPublica who broke this Facebook story. And he was able to link the participants in those online conversations to legitimate Facebook profiles of Border Patrol agents, and also to a supervisor in El Paso, an agent in Eagle Pass, Texas, and A.C. Thompson literally has been studying law enforcement and writing about law enforcement for about 20 years now. And he said he has never, ever seen anything like this.
Look, Chris, I've been reporting on law enforcement for more than 20 years, and I've seen a lot of bad stuff. But when I see members of federal law enforcement agencies posting memes about essentially sexually assaulting a sitting congresswoman, I've never seen anything like that. It is so upsetting and so vulgar. When I see the kind of things that are in there, making jokes about dead migrants, making jokes about all this kind of stuff that is misogynistic, that is dehumanizing towards the migrant population, that is belittling anyone that doesn't exactly agree with the Border Patrol's current approach. That is really concerning to me. That's a culture of, as has been put, desensitization and dehumanization.
Of cruelty.
Look, this has been a troubled agency for the last 16, 17 years since it was created.
Right.
There have been problems with internal oversight, with not having a proper internal affairs unit, without properly policing the members of this unit. Historically, from the time it was created, about 250 agents per year and officers of the Customs Service get arrested on criminal charges. That is a concerning thing, and that has gone on through the Obama administration to now. So there have been persistent problems, but I think what you see now are two things. And one, there was just an audit that came out by the Inspector General that said, hey, look, we surveyed 16,000 Border Patrol members, and 5,300 of them said, I have witnessed misconduct on the job. That's a significant number. That's a big number. That's almost
a third.
That's about a third. And so that is a concerning thing, that we see those kind of numbers. The other thing that I think that is concerning that we see is in the Post, you see this very sort of political bent, that these men, and overwhelmingly they are men making these posts, feel that they are part of some sort of political vanguard. It's them against the world. And this gives them license to behave badly online. And I fear it gives them license to behave badly. They think it gives them license to behave badly in the real world.
Okay, so this is A.C. Thompson, who wrote the ProPublica article, who actually found this Facebook group, the secret Facebook group. Not so secret. There's 20,000 Border Patrol agents, and 9,500 of them are on this Facebook page. Not so secret. Half of the Border Patrol is actually online practicing a culture of cruelty towards children. Do you hear me? This is unbelievable. And you know why? You know why? Because there is no oversight. You have absolutely the acting chief. You had an acting chief, right? I mean, Kirsten Nielsen, she's gone. So you have an acting chief at DHS. You have an acting chief at the Border Patrol, at Customs and Border Protection. John Sanders was the acting. He resigned after only 2 months on the job. You got this guy, McLean, in there saying, it's all unsubstantiated. Well, now it's substantiated. The IG has released the report and made it public. And obviously, it's because everything Trump touches dies. He doesn't know what he's doing. You know, he literally, we need a Marshall Plan for Nicaragua, Honduras, and El Salvador. That is beyond, debate. That is just the fact of where we are. Now, Salvador's got themselves a new president, and he is not a partisan guy. He's, not from either of the two major parties, and he is literally saying it's our fault. It's our fault that Salvadorans are fleeing. It's our fault that we don't have security for our own people. It's our fault that people can't make a living here. It's our fault. But in that same breath, the United States takes away the aid that we used to give to El Salvador. Do you think that's going to cause more people or less people to flee? Because Trump is a moron. He's an idiot. You want me to prove it? I'm going to prove it right now. Here is Donald Trump laying out his plan. Oh, this is really weird. Okay, so he was over in Japan, in Osaka, the way he likes to. Osaka. He was in Japan. And Tucker Carlson was with him. Tucker Carlson is who he took to meet Kim Jong-un. Tucker freaking Carlson is who he took to meet Kim Jong-un. He sent his foreign policy shop, which is just a bizarre group of chicken hawks. He sent them off to Mongolia. And he took Tucker Carlson to solve the problem of denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. So Tucker Carlson had to sit down with Donald Trump in Osaka, in Japan, and this is how it went when Tucker Carlson, one of his pet issues is homelessness. Tucker Carlson loves to blame the homeless for being homeless, not realizing that many of our homeless are our freaking veterans. How could you watch this channel? I don't even understand what its appeal is, except that the girls look, oiled and spray painted. But check this out. Here's Donald Trump's thoughtful solution about homelessness, because they're in Japan, okay? And in Japan, in Tokyo, they have about, they got about 13 million people living in the greater Tokyo area. But living in the city of Tokyo, it's kind of like if you look at New York City, okay? So you have like 8 million people living in New York City, and then in the greater New York area, you probably have 30 million. So it's like that there, okay? They have 36 million in the greater Tokyo area and 13 million in the capital itself, in Tokyo. And there's only about 700 homeless people. Only about 700. How do they do that? They do it because they offer temporary housing if you should find yourself homeless. They offer employment services if you should find yourself homeless. They also have, nothing really racial going on there because they're fairly homogenous. But they also have guaranteed housing and low-income housing and all kinds of programs and things to make sure that if somebody in Tokyo loses their job or ends up on the short end of the paycheck, that they don't have to give up their housing, you see. And, here in the United States, places like, Utah have figured this out too. But wait till you hear your president's solution.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
All right, this is unbelievable. This is the idiot. This is the idiot in chief, okay? Idiot Trump. It. This is it. Talking about homelessness to Tucker Carlson. First of all, but before I play the president's ideas on what to do about homelessness, I just want you to know that there are some cities in this country that have figured out homelessness. Austin, Texas is one. They took about 27 acres and they set it aside, and then they put, these, the tiny homes, the little teeny tiny homes that people are liking now. So they decided to take 27 acres and set it aside and put tiny homes on these 27 acres and rent them out for no more than $400 a month. Sort of help with the homelessness problem. Utah. You know that Utah has reduced its population of homeless people by 72% in the past 9 years because they started something called Housing First. I suggest you ever read Mother Jones? It's a very, very good magazine. Mother Jones does a whole long, it's like a 20-page article on the Housing First program in Salt Lake City. And people nationally started to look at Utah's solution to homelessness because it was extremely successful. And North Carolina is looking at it. San Francisco is looking at it. What the Housing First program does is it actually pays $50 if you get an apartment or a place to live or whatever it is, you pay $50 a month, no more than 30% of your income. You give people shelter first, and then you focus on what led to the homelessness, whether it's a personal issue, whether it's a loss of a job, whether it's mental illness, whether it's mental disorders, or it's an addiction problem. You first get somebody sheltered and safe. And that approach worked. It also created more jobs. It improved education. Austin, Texas, I told you about. San Francisco, the cost of living there is so prohibitive. And so for 20 years, the last 20 years, you have had homelessness in San Francisco. They have tried a few things. I'm telling you, housing first is the way to go about it. Colorado, Aurora, they announced that they were using the taxes collected on marijuana, okay, in order to invest in housing first, in order to create housing for people who didn't have housing. Los Angeles is spending $2 billion a year. How are they getting the money? They're putting a half a percentage tax on every dollar over $1 million for high income earners. And it's going to go towards the county's homelessness plan. They think that they could raise $350 million a year. And, they have about 46,000 people in Los Angeles County that they need to, do housing for. Well, okay, so those are some of the thoughtful ideas. These are some of the things that work. You got 4 countries you could look to. You could look to Canada. You could look to Japan. There are countries that have figured this out. Here's our country. Here's the leader of our country. Here it is talking about its thoughts on homelessness to Tucker Carlson.
You come to where we are now, Osaka or Tokyo, and the cities are clean. There's no graffiti, no one going to the bathroom on the street. You don't see junkies.
It's very nice, isn't it?
Very different from our cities.
Yep. Well, some of our cities.
Some of our cities. But New York City, San Francisco, Los Angeles, they've got a major problem with...
It's very sad.
With filth.
Very sad.
Filth? Why is that?
It's a phenomenon that started 2 years ago. It's disgraceful.
2 years ago?
I'm going to and I'm looking at it very seriously. We're doing some other things, as you probably noticed, like some of the very important things that we're doing now.
What?
But we're looking at it very seriously because you can't do that. You can't have what's happening where police officers are getting sick just by walking the beat. I mean, they're getting actually very sick. Where people are getting sick, where the people living there are living in hell, too, although some of them have mental problems where they don't even know they're living that way. In fact, perhaps they like living that way.
What?
They can't do that. We cannot ruin our cities. And you have people that work in those cities. They work in office buildings, and to get into the building, they have to walk through a scene that nobody would have believed possible 3 years ago.
3 years.
And this is the liberal establishment. This is what I'm fighting.
Oh, my God.
I don't know if they're afraid of votes. I don't know if they really believe that this should be taking place, but it's a terrible thing that's taking place. And we may be, I had a situation when I first became president. We had certain areas of Washington, D.C. where that was starting to happen. And I ended it very quickly. I said, you can't do that. When we have leaders of the world coming in to see the President of the United States and they're riding down a highway, they can't be looking at that. I really believe that it hurts our country.
Oh, dear God. From a PR point of view, he thinks homelessness is a bad look. First of all, let me tell you something. The homelessness in D.C. are the lowest they have been since 2001. There was a huge drop in homelessness in 2016 under Barack Obama. Okay? What is he talking about? That homelessness started 2 years ago. And from a PR point of view, you can't do it. You can't have it. It's a phenomena that started 2 years ago. It's disgraceful. I'm going to maybe, and I'm looking at it very seriously, we're doing some other things that you probably noticed, like some of the very important things that we're doing now, but we're looking at it very seriously because you can't do that. Is there a position in there? Is there a policy in there? Is there some discussion in there about medicine or housing first or any? What is he talking about? And you know what's really creepy? The creepiest part, because we know he's a moron. When he was asked about busing overseas, he said it's a good mode of transportation to get kids to school. Buses. Right? He didn't understand busing. He thought buses. They were asking him about buses. Oh, it's probably the best method to get kids to school. Put them on a bus. Oh, my God. When they asked them about liberal democracy, meaning Western countries, and was that something that he cared about, or did he think that it was dying the way Vladimir Putin said it was? He said, well, Vladimir's right. You have to look at liberals. You have to look at San Francisco. They meant Western democracy. He didn't understand that. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The emperor has no clothes. This is a farce. He's a fraud. It's a phenomena that started 2 years ago. It's disgraceful. I'm looking at it very seriously. We're doing some other things that you probably noticed, like some of the very important things that we're doing now, but we're looking at it very seriously because you can't do that. That's his plan for homelessness. Our veterans suffer from extraordinary homelessness. It's because they were so young when they were deployed that the trauma that their brains ingested has messed up the rest of their lives. This is his answer. And the scary part, Tucker Carlson, if you go on his show and you disagree with him, he will shout you down. He will scream at you and yell at you, even if you're presenting ideas. As long as they're ideas he disagrees with. But the president says this gibberish, this jabberwocky, this acid-induced answer to homelessness, and he says nothing.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Why is that?
It's a phenomenon that started 2 years ago. It's disgraceful. I'm going to and I'm looking at it very seriously. We're doing some other things, as you probably noticed, like some of the very important things that we're doing now. But we're looking at it very seriously because you can't do that. You can't have what's happening where police officers are getting sick just by walking the beat. They're getting actually very sick. Where people are getting sick, where the people living there are living in hell too, although some of them have mental problems where they don't even know they're living that way. In fact, perhaps they like living that way.
Oh, my God.
They can't do that. We cannot ruin our cities. And you have people that work in those cities. They work in office buildings, and to get into the building, they have to walk through a scene that nobody would have believed possible 3 years ago. And this is the liberal establishment. This is what I'm fighting. I don't know if they're afraid of votes. I don't know if they really believe that this should be taking place. But it's a terrible thing that's taking place. And we may be... I had a situation when I first became president. We had certain areas of Washington, D.C. where that was starting to happen.
And
I ended it very quickly. I said, you can't do that. When we have leaders of the world coming in to see the President of the United States and they're riding down a highway, they can't be looking at that. I really believe that it hurts our country. They can't be looking at that, yeah. They can't be looking at scenes like you see in Los Angeles and San Francisco. San Francisco, I own property in San Francisco, so I don't care, except it was so beautiful. And now areas that you used to think as being, really something very special, you take a look at what's going on with San Francisco. It's terrible. So we're looking at it very seriously. We may intercede. We may do something to get that whole thing cleaned up. It's inappropriate. Now, we have to take the people and do something. We have to do something.
We have to do something.
And, we're really not very equipped as a government to be doing that kind of work. That's not really the kind of work that the government probably should be doing. We've never had this in our lives before in our country. And it's not only those few cities, it's a couple of other cities also. Cities. At the same time, most of our cities are doing great.
What is wrong with Tucker Carlson? He knows that this man is a moron. He knows that this man said absolutely nothing. He knows that Donald Trump has no earthly idea what he's talking about when it comes to solving the problem of homelessness. We know that his budget has cut back on Section 8 vouchers, which are vouchers that help people live in public housing. We know that we need to build more modern, clean and safe public housing. We know what works. We know what worked in places like Salt Lake City. We know what works in cities like Austin. We know what worked in New York City. We know what worked in Washington, D.C. It is the sickest thing. And he sits there and pretends that this man is saying something because that is what that channel wants to project to its unbelievably undereducated, alternative universe living sapsuckers. I mean, it's just unbelievable. He said nothing. He said nothing, and then he goes on and he says today, I'm going to spend millions. We don't even know how much he's spending on, being tank boy on the 4th of July, do we? No, but he's going to be tank man. He's going to have tanks.
We're going to have a great 4th of July in Washington, D.C. It'll be like no other. It'll be special, and I hope a lot of people come, and it's going to be about this country, and it's a salute to America. And I'm going to be here, and I'm going to say a few words, and we're going to have planes going overhead, the best fighter jets in the world, and other planes too. And we're going to have some tanks stationed outside. Got to be pretty careful with the tanks because the roads have a tendency not to like to carry heavy tanks. So we
Someone
have to put
told
them
you that, right?
in certain areas.
Yeah.
But we have the brand new Sherman tanks, so we have the brand new Abram tanks.
We have the brand new Sherman tanks, everybody. Did you know that? Brand new Shermans that we haven't had since 1950. Doesn't know what he's talking about. We have not used a World War II era Sherman tank since the 1950s. But, the Department of Defense, the D.C. City Council told him you cannot be Kim Jong-un, okay? You cannot march tanks down the street. It will tear up the ass. So he's going to have them stationed in a static display because that is what the military told him they could accomplish for him on the National Mall. These vehicles will not be moving, and they won't be Sherman tanks. I mean, you're going to have... but he has to have his tanks. He has to have freaking tanks. Sherman tanks. What is wrong with him? Why are people supporting this?
Just a couple of days away from what could be a 4th of July celebration, the likes of which Washington really has never seen, largely planned, we are told, by the president himself. Now, tanks will not parade down Pennsylvania Avenue because of the need to protect roads and bridges, but they will be there. And this comes as the costs continue to rise.
How much? How much are we spending so that this man can feel like he could whip it out and knock things off the desk with it? How much? How much are we spending for this? While he sits there and Tucker Carlson out, well, what about homelessness? What about that? We may do something. And I think you'll see some of the things that we're doing, that we're already doing, and we'll do those things. And then, we may do something more, but you already see what we're doing. And so we'll do more of those things and this just started, it just started, and it's bad PR for America. You can't have, the Prince of Saudi Arabia who murdered a Washington Post journalist, dismembered him, put him in a baggie, and had his body removed to someplace, and we don't know what happened to him. See homelessness. You can't, that would be bad PR for the United States of America. Well, I invited Kim Jong-un to the United States, and you can't have a man who's turned his whole country into a concentration camp see the freedom that produces the homelessness. You can't, that would be bad PR for us. That would be bad. What is wrong with this country? It isn't just him anymore. It's the people that cheer him. That's who's freaking me out. Because they wear uniforms and they have badges and they kill people. Chris in Brooklyn.
Hey, Randy, long time no see. I'm going to be your Trump whisperer for one half of the call, then I'm going to be a hostile caller for the second half of the call. Okay?
All right.
Now, here's the deal.
Right.
I think he's really enamored with the idea of being the leader of Singapore. He wants to go out and round up these homeless, these filthy, these disgusting. We all know he has phobia issues with germs and whatever, right? But you're going to run out of excess prison space to fill once the people from Guatemala, El Salvador, et cetera, the people who are actually running from real situations to try to get here, have their moments where they could actually be listened to as a refugee status person. He's going to run out of that political issue, and then sooner or later we're going to have to start rounding up some homeless folks just to fill the prisons. And let me tell you, the guys at the Custom and Border
Wait,
Patrol,
we're going to run out of time. Let me put you on hold.
What a shame.
All right. Hold on. I want to play the game. I want to play his game. I'm interested in the game where he's going to be the Trump whisperer and then a hostile caller. I want to play. 1 minute.
Randi Rhodes Show. He's live on RandiRhodes.com and the free Progressive Voices app for Android and iOS. Visit the App Store or ProgressiveVoices.com now.
All right, go ahead. Chris in Brooklyn, I want to play.
And now for the hostile side of the story.
Okay.
Okay. I was foolish enough to marry a Korean woman, right? So I happen to know a real great deal about Korea, okay? I speak a little, etc. Now, here's the thing. I've heard people left and right smacking this guy around over, like, any overture of peace in the peninsula for a couple of years now. I was foolish enough to actually be one of those people to be like, you know what? In a certain world, this is the kind of stuff where they would give this guy the Nobel Prize if he actually got anything off the ground. And believe me, I know it's a lark for him, okay? Right. I know that him stepping over the border the other day was just a photo op. I know it's just like, hey, look, I'm bored. Let's go do something. Let's go hang out with this guy, okay? But left and right together, you annoy the hell out of him. I know you're on the air now. Congratulations, you're on the air.
Oh, thanks.
It annoys me no end to hear people from both sides of the political fence going off about how Korea is a gulag. North Korea is a gulag.
It is.
North Korea is a gulag for a simple reason. 80 years of bad American foreign policy. That is why. You do not create a hermit kingdom unless you have to create it. It doesn't just appear. The original Kim, right? He was an incredible warrior who fought against the Japanese. He was the one who we should have been backing the entire way. Instead, we went and we backed South Korea and these guys who go, historically, the people in South Korea, I'm not going to get into the 2,000 or 3,000 years before that. But the thing is, between North and South, we backed the wrong horse.
We always do.
Over the North. The Russians took over the North, and then they pulled out.
Right.
We backed the South after, somebody decided on a dinner napkin, let's cut them off right here at the parallel. Okay?
It sounds like a Biden plan for Iraq, doesn't it?
But the deal is just that if not for American mistakes going back to 1945, we wouldn't have the situation in Korea. And you know what? I think that Kim, whatever you want to say about the guy, whatever the hell's going on in the North, they have every right and every reason to have a nuclear weapon, okay? They have every right and every reason, just like Iran, to have a missile program. I believe that because you know what? We live in a country, bipartisan, for 70-some-odd years, that just loves to kill and destroy and blow crap up. Shall we talk about why we don't have an actual peace treaty with North Korea? Because the war crimes that would be involved with that, napalm, that's where we tested napalm, for Christ's sake. We blew up dams. We blew up hydroelectric dams, infrastructure, things like that. This is all stuff that gets us in the hog, in the dock, and we don't come out on top. Just like the reason was we had an Iran deal because, you know what? Once it went to the court, we would lose 30 times the money. That's why Barack was just like, look, let's go along with the rest of the world and open up Iran, okay? Stupidity, whatever's going to be said about it. This guy, that's the only thing he's done that I really care for, honestly.
Yeah, I don't.
And the time,
I don't. You don't start. Here's what he did. Okay, he decided to tweet out about fire and fury and hellfire and all this stuff, and the world's going to come to and he created a chaotic situation, and now he's pretending to solve it by doing absolutely nothing. There is no progress. There's nothing good that's happening there. What did happen that was good was the JCPOA with Iran, because to talk to another country, to get the whole world, including Russia, including China, to sign on to a non-nuclear proliferation agreement was majesty. It was magical. It was a peace plan, and it was a peace plan for Iran with the rest of the world, and he pulled us out of it. And then he tried to start some sort of a war and make everybody think North Korea was minutes away from having a war with us, which they're not, in order to create a problem and then pretend to solve it. And what he did was nothing. So North Korea gets to keep its nuclear weapons, which is a bad deal for the world because...
As well they should, and how are they going to move them over to here?
This is the problem. This is the problem with America. When America says, okay, denuclearize, like we did with Libya, this was a bad thing too. Okay, you denuclearize, they give up their nuclear weapons, and then we kill Muammar Gaddafi. We kill him.
Yeah, we get that.
So then nobody's going to trust you ever to live without a nuclear weapon.
The one they never let go of is.
But they managed to do Iran. They managed to do it, and this guy, upended it and pulled us out of it.
I heard this one the other day, and this is the one that nobody ever thinks about because people in the media are freaking idiots. Okay, it's about the whole peninsula being denuclearized. That will never happen because of USA. The army is there, the military is there. Japan must be protected at all costs. Then we come around to Iran and the Strait of Hormuz, and all that oil is only going to Japan. That's the reason why we are the world's cop in Hormuz. We don't belong there. We don't belong in Korea. We don't belong anywhere. And I'm very sorry, left, right, whatever. You're all morons when it comes to this thing. Just you wonder why the cops on the border are so vicious. The cops in America have been vicious ever since they were catching slaves 200 freaking years ago, okay? It's part of the job. Here's the thing. If you are a real blue-collar guy, that's the job you're going to go to, and you're going to be vicious. They're going to give you a gun. They're going to train you. And then lately it's all about how can we enfilade people? How come ever since Trump took over, we never hear about the black people being killed around this country anymore, okay? This is not a situation that changes from administration to administration. It is ongoing. It is never going to stop because America is never going to come to terms with how racist, warlike, stupid it really is.
Well, you have to look at the origins of America. America is a country that was built. Yeah. Right. America was built on a genocide, number one, and then it was built on supremacy, number two, and then it was built on free black labor and torturing their own workers who were working for free, and then it was built on Jim Crow, and then it was built on immigrants' hands. I mean, the Italian Masons and the Irish who plucked your chickens. Now it's a different.
Hoi, hoi.
Right. I mean, that America is a nation of immigrants. And once it gives up, that status and it decides that it's going to go to war with other countries, it loses every, bit of its shininess, let's say.
Now, I understand beating this guy around and stuff like that, but occasionally it'd be nice if somebody could just sit there and turn their noodle around the idea of, like, why is it necessary to be the world cop? Period. End of story. Why is Tulsi Gabbard so popular, but everyone hates her because she happened to say we should talk to Assad? And meanwhile, we don't have time.
I don't think that's why people hate her. I really don't.
No. Look. She wore the uniform a little too much when she ran for office. I understand that, but you know what? She's co-opted the Ron Paul movement kind of stance for running. She will get the Ron Paul people. I am one of them. And etc.
So there you go.
Like one of those people. Oh, don't judge me. Don't judge me. I am not one of those people that accepts him like part and parcel. And look, his son and his family and the hook.
So here's my question for you. Here's my question for you. All right.
Anti-war, baby. That's it.
I get it. I'm anti-war too. Okay. I agree with you that war is a loser. War is hell. Right. War is hell on earth. War is not the way you settle your problems. Okay? It just isn't. It doesn't work. It's never worked. It will never work. Okay?
And only idiots that never been there want to do it.
Oh, that's true. However, here you have a war that we had with Japan, right? Because Japan attacked us. So we went to war with Japan. At the end of the war with Japan, we made a deal with them. And we said, you will not have a military. And if you do, it will be for defensive purposes only. And in exchange, the United States will protect you. What do you want to do?
Now we're trying to sell them planes and more weapons. We're trying to military.
But they can't use them for anything but defense. So that's the deal. That's the deal we made. They attacked us. We went to war with them. Then after the war, somebody thought, you know what? You can never have a military ever again. And, we'll protect you. So what do you want to do on that deal? You want to pull out of that deal?
Yeah, honestly, because
I don't.
The world has moved away from that.
I don't. I think that if America can use its influence in a post-war situation after we've been attacked to convince a country to give up its nukes or to convince a country to not have a military, that's a good use. That's a good use of American prowess. That's a good use of American power. And that is a reason why men of a different generation than yours actually went and fought, so that we could have a result like that. Now, war, as far as going to war in Venezuela, going to war in Iran, going to war with North Korea, these are losers. These are losing propositions. Iran has not attacked the United States of America. Saudi Arabia has. And he loves Saudi Arabia, okay? 15 of those 19 hijackers, Saudis. We attacked Afghanistan and Iraq. Go figure. See, we have really bad foreign policy. But to sit there and say there is never, ever a time, people could fly planes into the... And we don't need a leader who understands who did it, what to do about it, and in the end, how to solve it so that it can never happen again by saying, you will never have a military, but we will protect you from all your, strange neighbors. See what I mean? It's not a one-size-fits-all American foreign policy. It just isn't, but we need bigger, better brains than Tulsi Gabbard's, than Donald Trump's. See, what Donald Trump is trying to do is change our alliances. That ain't gonna work for you.